crazy out here, man. I mean, there's a lot going on in the streets. There's a lot going on in the ghettos of the mind. I'm saying I write rhymes. Check. Feel my pain like it was yours. Crack addicts busting right through my doors. Bleeding on my lawn, I'm destined to be great. I swear, Jesus, read it on my palm. Tipsy, I'm calm, then I blow up like Vietnam bomb.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the most random show I've ever done. Wasn't scheduled today, but I felt like there was some things I needed to address. First and foremost, I'm gonna get these formalities out of the way because, come on, man, it's the network. That's what we do. So you know what it is, man. Facebook Live, or Facebook, you can like and follow us. I was about to say Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at STBPodTV. Anchor FM, that's your spot for podcasts. Shoot the Breeze Pod TV. Again, I prefer Apple Podcasts because Breezy got me on the iPhone now. So that's what I'm doing. Apple Podcasts, subscribe and give us 5 stars because we are 5-star type of guys. Email us at shootthebreezepodtv@gmail.com and one of us will get back to you. I'm not doing call-ins yet, so I'm not going to put the number up. But I will say that we do have some dope apparel on Teespring. Shoot the Breeze apparel. And I rock it. You should rock it. Breezy came up with a dope logo for it. So, yeah. All right. So, a lot going on in the world right now. The world is, I said last week that this millennium is now old enough to drink, so hopefully it'll calm down. And turns out this millennium turned out to be a white bitch who drinks White Claws and goes wild when she drinks. So, welcome to 2021. One of the main things I'm doing on here, I need to make myself abundantly clear because I am very anti-Democrat, especially in the last couple years or so. I pride myself on knowing about politics, educating myself about politics, and I'm not buying the bullshit. However, I will make it abundantly clear that I am also not a Republican. I don't buy their bullshit either, because that's all it is. As far as what happened at the Capitol the other day, no, I do not condone that. Not at all. Not one bit. I think that was an atrocious display of I can't even call it. It's ridiculous. However, yeah, a little bit, man. I'm always firing shots. That's what I do, Anthony. Come on, man. But you know what? It's a double standard that unfortunately people don't even realize, or maybe they do. Maybe they just don't care about their own stupidity. They were complaining about organizations like BLM this last summer, quote unquote, burning down cities. There were peaceful protests this last summer, and there were some that got way out of hand. I think we all need to really take a look at, as my man Iron Emperor said on his podcast, he addressed that these might be false flag operations. And I know for a fact, I was watching live feed of some of the protests going on over the summer, and at Black Lives Matter protests, there were pallets of bricks being delivered. Now, these people were just getting off work. They got bills to pay. They got families to feed. Are you going to tell me that one of them took the time out of their day to go find a pallet of bricks, not just one, but many, and place them on different blocks, unseen? And the police weren't going to do anything about that? I'm not buying it. There's video footage. I would play it here, but, YouTube and copyrights and all that. It's ridiculous. They're also saying that the thing that happened at the Capitol was a false flag operation. Now, I've seen pictures, but we all know that pictures can be doctored. That there was a couple of people that also stirred some chaos up at the BLM rallies. But here's my problem with what happened the other day. If that was true, say it was a false flag operation. if that was true, what about the hundreds of people that followed those guys into the Capitol? We got to hold them responsible, right? Because I don't follow the leader. That's not something I do. If somebody's walking off a bridge, I don't care how cool they are. I ain't walking with them. If they're walking off the Grand Canyon, I'm not walking with them. So, yeah, it's ridiculous what happened the other day. Now, I'm not sure. Breezy kind of brought it up on his show. Great show, by the way. Breeze All About It. It's the news show. I guess I learned on there, and I still haven't seen it yet. I'm not saying it did or didn't happen, but Trump basically called for it. And if that's true, then yeah, he's dead wrong. He's dead wrong. But my man Iron, again, brought up a great point. He didn't stick around when the chaos broke out. So, what's up, Garrett? How you doing, man? But, I think we need to call out bullshit where it is, because he's out of office now. Does this all end? Is systemic racism over with? If you think so, you're dead wrong. I stick to what I say about Joe Biden. He's one of the most racist people in political history. We have a viewer on here that sent me a message, and she said that she likes to believe that Joe Biden has changed his stance on a lot of things since committing all the racist acts that he has in the past. And I'm not somebody that's going to sit here and say that that's impossible, but I will tell you the odds of it are very unlikely. Neural pathways are set at a very young age. This guy attended Robert Byrd's funeral just 10 short years ago and gave a eulogy. What does that tell you? He's the savior of all things having to do with racism? I doubt it. But at what point do we as citizens come together, come to a common ground, and put a stop to it? Because that's really what it comes down to. You really think a bunch of rich politicians give a shit about what happens to us tomorrow? No. As long as we're paying our taxes, they don't care. So it's time for the woke generation to wake up. I saw a post the other day from somebody who conveniently speaks when it seems that, you know, there's no argument, but she doesn't do her research at the same time. She's always speaking on racism because it helps basically cover for her inadequacies as a person. And she doesn't look at her own racist behavior. This is what we call out here in California. We call that a snow bunny. This is a white girl who claims to only date black men. So is it not racist to only see black men as an object of lust? It's ridiculous, because at the end of the day, she ain't marrying none of them. She ain't making honest men out of any of them. You could talk from your computer all day long, but what are you actually doing to fight racism? Probably nothing. You just think if you say a few things that it covers for your inadequacies as a human. Her post was saying something about your people rioted because they didn't get their way. My people rioted. Her people. Yeah, her people rioted because of systemic disadvantages and being treated unfairly. How is that your people? What have you done? Have you even gone as far as studying black history, the greats, Malcolm X, Frederick Douglass, Martin Luther King? No, you haven't, because I've asked her. She has no idea who I'm talking about. She thinks Malcolm X is a Denzel Washington movie, and it is. It's a good Denzel Washington movie. But the book is better. You can learn a lot more from it. And the reason history is in place is so that we can learn from it. Most people don't, though. They take their little bullet points that fit their narrative and use it for their what they call fighting injustice. I also had somebody tell me that Biden is the lesser of two evils. I don't believe in that lesser of two evils bullshit, because that's all it is. There's evil and there's good. There's really no in between. This all sounds like conspiracy stuff too, I bet. But you know what? A few years ago, billionaires having islands where they commit acts of pedophilia was just a conspiracy. And guess what? Jeffrey Epstein. So, come on. My point, though, don't box me in. I don't blindly follow political leaders like the rest of you. I'm not an idiot. I know the history of these men. I didn't blindly follow Trump off a cliff because he led people there sometimes. The other day, he led people off a cliff. But I will not follow just because I don't agree with your liberal ideals and political leaders. That doesn't make me opposite of you. That doesn't mean I don't want racism to end. I grew up with black people, grew up with them, not hung around them sometimes. I grew up in their environment. That was my environment too. I have family members that I love and would die for that are black. You're right. We are not the same person. You see your little silver spoon-fed friends tell you that this is the thing to do with their little purple hair, and they go out and they stand at a rally, but that's all they do. What have you done to fight racism? Nothing. You guys are all talk. Take action other than going and standing at a rally for a few hours just so you could have a good story about how the police pepper sprayed you. That's not fighting racism. That's you going along with the trend. What have you done? Have you gone to school? Have you taken law classes? Have you been to disadvantaged neighborhoods and gave to people who were less fortunate? And I understand. Don't try to twist my words on that, because I understand that these kind of neighborhoods come in all different colors. But what I'm saying to you is this: let's call a spade a spade. What have you done? You haven't done anything. So no, we are not the same. It's cool right now to be a blind Democrat and to say that you support, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But take a look at the history of these people. What have they done to fight racism? Nothing. They're burdens to the whole issue. Crime bill, 1994, Joe Biden. Trump wasn't even in politics back then. Again, I'm not defending Trump. I will make that abundantly clear. But he's out of office now. Who's in power? Joe Biden. 10 years ago, eulogy at Robert Byrd's funeral. Do I need to reiterate who Robert Byrd is? Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan. Has he changed since then? I don't know, but my bet is no. He's old. He was born in like 1942. 10 years ago, he was in his 60s. How much do you change at that point in your life when the leading scientists say that neural pathways are set at a very young age? The Democrat Party hasn't changed. They just commit their acts of racism with a smile on their face now. They're the ones patting you on the back while putting a kick me sign there, and you have no idea. Again, we are not the same. You have no idea what you're talking about. Nothing whatsoever. That being said, I'm going to have a guest on Wednesday. Goes by the name of Iron Emperor. He's got a great podcast. He actually spoke a little bit on this. And it was refreshing to finally hear somebody that wasn't picking a political side. He is all for Black Lives Matter, fighting racism. He's anti-Trump. And we agree on things. Some things we don't agree on, but we have an understanding that there's no love lost for each other whatsoever. Why? Because we're not idiots. We're not being herded around by rich politicians telling us how to think and feel. You are. So no, we are not the same. You're uneducated making political posts. No, we are not the same. I educated myself the right way. I didn't read CNN articles or Fox News articles. If that's where you're getting your information, CNN and Fox News, you're an idiot. It's all a narrative. It's propaganda. My guest coming on Wednesday is going to let you know more about that. I'm not. At the same time, let me flip on the Republican side. Republicans, we are not the same. You and me are not the same. When someone screams Black Lives Matter, I don't scream All Lives Matter, because all that shows is that I'm too stupid to understand what they're saying. All Lives Matter is one of the dumbest things I've heard since this whole thing started. I get what Black Lives Matter is saying. I support what Black Lives Matter is saying. I don't support the puppet masters behind it, using it as a ploy and leverage to get votes. I don't like that. I agree with the movement, with the heart behind the movement. I don't agree with the people, the leaders behind the movement, who are using it as a ploy and leverage to obtain votes. And taxpayers, because let's be honest, that's what this is all about, right? Every politician, check the records. Every single one of them makes a lot of money off of the decisions and bills that they pass through. I understand that. So no, we are not the same. Republicans, we are not the same. If somebody asks me if I'm a racist, I can say no, period. You will never hear me say I'm not a racist, but, and then followed by a bunch of bullshit. That's not me. So no, we are not the same. I don't buy politicians' bullshit. You shouldn't either. And if you do, I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you. That's fine. Whatever. But don't pretend to understand something that you really don't, because you're too, I mean, there's no better word than blind, because you're too blind to see from different angles. The only angle you look at is through the camera lens of a CNN, a CNN cameraman. So we're not the same. My guest Wednesday is Iron Emperor. He has a really great podcast I've been listening to. He touches on this. He's a little bit more on I don't want to say opposite spectrum of where I'm coming from, but he lets you know what side he's on. He's very pro-black, and you know what? I'm all for that, man. Like he said, that's his home team, and he's fighting his fight, and I agree with what he's fighting with. And he's not. He said it yesterday. If I could quote what he was saying, which I kind of already did, but it's if you think rich politicians that got their own families to feed give a shit about you, then you're stupid. I like that he took the approach and the stance that wasn't a political ploy, that or a Joe Biden narrative. But this is his podcast, Deep Thoughts with Iron. It's dope. Go listen to it. Follow him on Instagram. He will be on on Wednesday. We're going to talk music. We're probably going to talk a little bit about the news and maybe some other things. But he's also a dope MC, so check that episode. It's going to be a good one. It may go for a really long time, too. Who knows? But this episode here, episode 15, set this one out, was a very intuitive, just listen to it. That's all I can say. But yeah, I had to let my stance be known because no, I'm not a Republican. Don't call me a Republican just because I don't agree with your Democrat bullshit. You can call me well, you know what? You can. I don't care because your opinion doesn't matter because you're too stupid to have one that matters. If that's what you think. Like I said, it's all conspiracy stuff right now that I think that this whole thing is a game. This government thing is a game. But again, so was billionaire pedophile islands just a few short years ago. And here we are. I don't need to remind you about Epstein. I don't even need to remind you about who was there. And I'm talking about big figures from both sides of the fence, both political parties. Two-party system is stupid. It's telling you got to believe one thing or the other. I'm not that kind of guy. That ain't me. You can't tell me to believe one thing or the other. One of my biggest beefs with the Republican Party was years ago that we are still arguing in a free country why gay people can and cannot get married. This is a free country. Whether you agree with them or not, it's a free country. But on the flip side, Democrats, and this is why I go at them so hard, they're attacking free speech left and right. Grown adults now, when they lose an argument, they call you a bully. That in itself is laughable. An adult complaining about bullying. Grow the fuck up. We are not the same. I am Donnie Darko. This is Shotz in the Dark. Join us Wednesday. It's going to be a good episode. Peace.
It's crazy out here, man. I mean, there's a lot going on in the streets. There's a lot going on in the ghettos of the mind. I'm saying I write rhymes. Check. Feel my pain like it was yours. Crack addicts busting right through my doors. Bleeding on my lawn, I'm destined to be great. I swear, Jesus, read it on my palm, tipsy. I'm calm, then I blow up like Vietnam.